Black Hills Information Security, the leaders in penetration testing and active defense. Email consulting@blackhillsinfosec.com to request a quote today. Threat Connect is the industry's most widely adopted threat intelligence platform, built to unite the people, processes, and technologies across your security team, your organization, and your entire ecosystem of partners. Threat Connect's threat intelligence platform enables your team to collaborate, analyze, and make sense of threat data all in one place. Empower your team towards fast and efficient analysis that leads to decisive action. Transform your entire threat detection and response program today. Claim your free account at threatconnect.com/securityweekly. Overwhelmed when it comes time to choose which cigar to smoke? Confused by the differences between 60 ring gauge, Robusto, Corona, and Lancero? Do you yearn to try all the new cigars on the market, but need a guide to tell you where to start? Look no further than the Stogie Geek Show. Hosted by yours truly and Will Cooper, we've made it our mission to educate both new and experienced cigar smokers. Tune in for interviews with leaders in the cigar industry, how-to segments, and weekly cigar reviews. Visit StogieGeeks.com to subscribe to our podcast, watch the live show, and discover our video archives. Stogie Geeks, geeks kicking ass. Welcome back, everyone, to Security Weekly. This is our listener feedback segment. We brought back listener feedback. What was the segment we used to do with Twitchy? Story time with Twitchy.
With the music that they also used on the
tampon commercial.
It was douche.
No? It was a feminine wash.
Yes.
We'll call it a feminine.
Wash.
I'm calling it a feminine wash, not a douche.
Douche nozzles.
It was music from the douche commercial.
Well, it wasn't actually music from the douche commercial.
It was from GarageBand.
Exactly.
It was free music.
And we used it first.
We used it first, and then
those douche nozzles stole the music from us.
It was story time with Twitchy. You know, we should put together a montage of audio. I should have one of the guys go back and pluck out every story time with Twitchy from the early episodes and release it as one episode because it was epic. Wow. Epic.
Do we really want to torture our listeners like that?
I kind of do.
Throwback Thursday.
Yeah, that would be an epic throwback.
There would be
Thursday.
no video though, but
there'd
still.
be no video, just audio.
We just
and
put random pictures of
terrible no matter what you did to it.
We just put random pictures of Nick and lolcats and ponies and
rainbows.
Lots of lolcats. Yeah, I love it.
Yeah. This is my horse. My horse is amazing. Give it a lick. Tastes like raisins.
So this is listener feedback.
But wait, we got somebody new on the line, don't we?
Oh, Kevin is here. Not Kevin. Welcome, not Kevin.
Yes, welcome, Kevin.
How's it going?
Kevin, we're going to do listener feedback. Are you ready?
I am ready.
All
I'm
right.
more ready than I've ever been in my life.
An anonymous listener has written in, and please send your listener feedback to psw@securityweekly.com. Anonymous writes in and says, I went back and watched your episode on responsible disclosure after I inadvertently found a vulnerability, and I've edited this so you couldn't figure out what it was no matter what. Found a vulnerability in Store's website that allows you to access and modify the account details, name, address, phone number, and email. The company was immediately notified, and I was essentially told, thanks, but I'm being told I can't talk with you about this any further. I'm sorry. And that was the last you heard from the company. HackerOne had no information on the disclosure and have yet to fix the issue. His main questions are, if, number one, they don't fix it within the next few weeks, should he try and re-engage them? Two, if they still don't fix it, is there a safe way to disclose this vulnerability? Talk amongst yourselves.
Wow. So I think my esteemed leader, Mr. Strand, responded to this.
He did.
If I remember correctly. And it was something along the lines of go big. But I'm not so sure how to deal with it. I dealt with a similar situation myself recently, and we kind of went pretty loud. It was actually involving a 0-day kind of thing. And
you did a webcast on the Security Weekly Network and announced it.
We did, but after we waited for over 90 days and we tried to engage HackerOne in that period of time to do a responsible disclosure process. So we did our due diligence and we tried our hardest via HackerOne to do the right thing. So I think 90 days is a pretty good number to adopt in terms of responsible disclosure process. After that, this was kind of John Strand's call, and we went big, and we went with a webcast, and we got a lot of response fairly quickly from vendor in question, but not in a hostile way. It was
because that's the thing, Joff, right? Is that after you release it, no matter how responsible you've been up to that point, once you release it, the response from the organization that has the vulnerability can really go one of two ways. It's either after you release it, you're sitting quietly in your home drinking your gin, and ninja lawyers are propelling. Josh Wright always gave this visual to me. Ninja lawyers are propelling down from ropes from helicopters above your house, serving you papers, and they're suing you into oblivion. I guess it can go one of three ways, or they take their ninja lawyers to federal agencies and FBI is blowing through your door and you're getting arrested, or it can happen where the company's like, oh, yeah, you know what? Since you talked about it a lot, we'll just fix it.
Right.
Those are not options I'm comfortable with, by the way. The first two are really bad. Like, federal prison is the worst possible scenario in my mind. Ninja lawyers are the second worst possible scenario. The best possible scenario is that they fix it.
And that's a 33% chance.
Yeah.
That's not good.
Well, I'm not sure it's an equal distribution. But so here's the question.
Oh, no. Wait a second, Santa Colangelo. I actually was seriously nervous. I'll be dead honest. I was seriously nervous when we went public with this one, and I actually spoke with John. I was like, look, are you sure you want to do this? Because it is a serious concern. I mean, people can throw armies of lawyers at you.
I wasn't downplaying that. I was actually just suggesting that it's not an equal distribution of a third.
Right.
I agree.
It's not an equal chance. Like all three of those are not an equal chance. It's probably, Michael, would you agree it's more likely that the company just fixes it rather than ninja lawyers or federal prison?
No, well, I think it depends on a number of things, and this is actually that's a good lead into the point question I was going to make. One of the things I've been looking at, like when we talk about Straight Talk, and we start talking about this, there's this what I call the distorted field of view. So I see this, I go, it's a disclosure, and I can do these, I can get these 4 things. They gotta fix that. Now, if I step back from that and I go, all right, let's pretend I don't know anything about this industry, but I'm a leader, right? So I'm the executive, I'm on the board. What does that actually mean relative to now, correct? Because ideally their field of view is bigger. What do they see? And in terms of the priorities of things that they need to fix in order to keep their company solvent and make payroll, where does that rank out of, I don't know, the top 100 things? Yeah. Is it in the top third, the bottom third, somewhere in the middle? How much effort and time does it actually take to fix? Do they have the ability to fix it themselves, or is that somebody else they need to do? What is it? We've all been involved. I mean, gosh, we're all old enough. We've been involved with situations where you're like, wait, I can't patch that server. Why? Oh, because that would blow up all this other stuff that's completely dependent on it, and that's how we make money. So, I think the way that somebody responds to it is probably a combination of, their outlook on life, right? Some people are just like, screw you, I'm going to sue your ass and make you bleed. I think some people get legitimately freaked over it, and they're worried about potential liability, so they're going to come at you, and they're going to, they know somebody at the FBI, or they know somebody at the Attorney General's office, and they're going to throw something at you. And then I think there are some companies, and we've talked about this before, and I'm starting to see this more with what I would call more of like the startup style companies that go, yeah, you're right, cool, awesome. All right, well, we're going to fix it, and we're going to learn from it because that's important to us, and you're important to us, and we'd like to see it. And I think we'll see more of that. I'd like to see more of that. But see, like even at this one, like, because I'm reading this, and you guys said, well, 90 days is reasonable. And all I thought was, yeah, I guess. I don't completely understand what it would take to fix that properly and run it through a test cycle and based on whatever else they have on their schedule. Show me a company today that doesn't have more stuff to get done than they have time to do, less resources than they'd like in order to get it done, and something like this comes in. So, I think that's the nuance that we need to both be more mindful of and start to sort out.
Can I mention the flip side though? Having been in this, having been in this position personally, after in fact over 90 days went by, I kind of felt bad because I knew I had customers that were using the product in question.
That's a good point.
And I was like, I know this is broken and I can't tell anybody right now. And it really bothered me, right?
That's fair.
And I had done the work, I had done the research, and I had decided that this was a significant issue. And it's a conscience issue, right? Yep. It's this thing is broken. And I think a lot more software companies need to recognize that other side of it to say, look, the security researchers are honestly doing their work, and they probably come across this as part of a regular gig, just like I did, that may not even be the mainstream of what they're doing, but has become discovered as part of this, and they feel morally obligated to do something about it.
I think it's a great point. And as this listener is asking here, I mean, do I re-engage? What's the right strategy here? And that's a dilemma. I mean, there's no question about that in terms of how we look at it. All I'm adding into it is, there is another side to this. Now, granted, some companies, they're run by jackasses and they don't care about any of this type of stuff and stay out of their way. That's not what we want either, right? There's hopefully some happy ground in the middle to it all that we need to kind of figure that out. And I guess what I don't see yet enough of is where we get to say, okay, this is what I see. And somebody else says, oh, cool. Yep. Okay. Well, we're going to, instead of just going, we're going to handle it. Thanks. They actually get that chance to say, it's going to take a little bit of time. Here's what we can do. Like, we need to come to some level of understanding because otherwise this is going to continue to degrade and get ugly. So in this case, we're talking about name, address, phone number, email. Would you re-engage with them? Would you follow up and say, hey guys, it's been like 90 days. I know you said you couldn't talk to me. Are you addressing it? Is like, what would you go back to them, or do you're like, hey man, you told me to F off. All right, let's go public.
I personally, my gut feeling is to try and re-engage after that period is over. Depending on what road you went down first. I am a supporter of these intermediaries. I like the idea. Yeah. I really like the idea that of HackerOne and similar entities.
However, US Cert or any of those.
Well, I think
exactly.
What if this is a relatively small website? I mean, compared to Facebook, right? There's a lot of websites that even when you compare to, someone mentioned Tumblr, right? Like, there's a hierarchy of websites on the internet. Like, you find a vulnerability in Facebook, they have their own bug bounty program. Like, dude, they take security very seriously.
Right.
But as you work down the chain, and I'm not saying the size of the company determines how seriously they take security, but you get in some of these smaller websites that are smaller than Facebook is my only thing I'm comparing it to, right? They're not going to have their own bug bounty program. HackerOne, US Cert, whoever it is, maybe isn't going to broker that deal because they've got so much other stuff going on. And I feel like these smaller companies' websites kind of get lost in the shuffle that they're left to deal with the security researcher, and the security researcher is left to deal with them on their own, and it leaves people like Anonymous who wrote in, like, what do I do? And I don't think there's I don't think we have a definitive answer without knowing all of the circumstances. Knowing the nature, you gotta. I'm not disclosing the nature of the website he found the vulnerability in, but I can say that does play into this whole thing.
Yeah, that's fair.
And I think if Joff has got his thought finished, I want to throw in my 2 cents worth.
Oh, I was just going to say, the other thing that I think that goes a long way is to step away from email, and if you're dealing with a smaller entity, track down the person that's responsible and make a phone call.
That's a great point.
You'd be surprised at how much just a one-on-one conversation that actually communicates a little bit of emotion to, just to say, look, I'm a security researcher. I found this. This is really concerning to me, and this is why. Are you aware? And just have that conversation.
Hey, I can send you more details.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, and also communicate that you're not after them. Like, this is not a malicious.
I was going to say there's 2 points there, Larry. I know you got a point to make, but I want to put a finer point on two things Josh just said. You know, we seem sometimes to forget that on the other end or on the other side is a person, right? So you're a person, they're a person, and we forget that fast. What Josh's suggesting is just remind them you're a person. And let them understand that, and then as you both suggested, and give them some more details. Yeah, right. Fill out your field of view for them. I see this. This concerns me for these reasons. It looks like it could create this kind of a problem, which would be both a problem for your customers and for the industry or your bottom line or whatever else. And I just kind of wanted to share that with you. If there's some other details I can provide you, etc. That's useful. As opposed to, you guys got 90 days to fix this, and I'm going public. I already got the logo picked out. I got GarageBand for the theme song. Yeah, it's loaded up, baby.
Here's the compelling statement: is you have to say to the company, "I'm willing to work with you on a reasonable timetable to give you ample time to fix this problem."
Thanks, Paul.
And is that what the point?
And
that's a lot of what Josh Wright has found. Numerous vulnerabilities, and that's what he said too. He's like, dude, he's been at this point where this person is, and he's able to communicate with the company. And the companies Josh was dealing with were, I think, more accepting to this. And Josh was like, okay, I'll give you another 90 days.
Yep.
Let's work with another 90 days. But then Josh has found, but I'm using Josh as an example because he's described all these scenarios to me. Like, he's like, but then the 90 days come up for the second time, or the 30 days come up for the second time, and they're like, we need another 60 days. And like before you know it, like a whole year's gone by, and you're just wondering, like, all right, who else has found this vulnerability and is doing heinous things to your customers?
Yep. Well, so that's exactly that's the methodology that I've always gone by, is the one that Josh instilled in me, and that I teach to people at SANS is that if you're going to notify the company, my advice would be to re-engage. Make sure you're re-engaging with the right people. Maybe you need to engage with multiple. And you need to be the one that's in control of the situation.
Correct.
You need to draw the line in the sand, but don't be a dick.
Don't be a dick. Yeah.
Don't be a dick. So hey guys, I found this thing, and I'd really like to see you protect your customers. It'd be shame if someone else found this and didn't tell you about it. I'm here to do the right thing, and I'd like to maybe talk about this. I'd like to submit a CFP to DerbyCon, which is in November. Their CFP closes in 60 days. This is sort of what I'd like to see happen. What do you think? I'm happy to exchange more details. Send me PGP keys and so forth and so on. And they come back and they're like, oh, you're going to go public with this? Well, I'd like to go public with it
after you fix it.
60 to 90 days, but I want to give you 60 to 90 days to potentially fix it. Oh, well, we need more time than that. I'm like, well, okay, good. So maybe not DerbyCon. Maybe B-Sides Boston or B-Sides Amsterdam in December.
Right.
Will that give you enough time? Yeah, I think that'll give us enough time. All right, CFP is here, so forth and so on. You agree on some timelines when you want to go public, and be willing to redraw that line in the sand. And I take this out of the going to buy a new car methodology. When you go to buy a new car, there's the thing that I've always been told is that you can go and sit down at the dealership and they give you the price, and you go, no, too high. And they go back and make you wait. And
they go to the wizard.
They go to the wizard and they come back with a lower price, and you say still too high. And that sales guy is willing to go back to the wizard 3 times.
Right.
The third time is that's it.
So game's over.
That's my thing. Your game's over. You go back to the wizard. You go back to me.
It's a good analogy.
Three times. And on the third time, you say, "Great. That's it. That's as much as I can do."
Right.
And you need to be willing to draw the line in the sand. Let them jump over it. Draw a new line in the sand, and then finally, that third time is like, look, guys, this is enough. This is enough. This is the date. I've given you more than enough time to fix.
And document all of that.
Absolutely. Documentation is key.
And if I may make one more point, also in those conversations, point out to the vendor in question what the security risk and well, actually not so much security risk. Point out the actual business risk to them, the impact to them if they don't address the situation. I mean, and if they're thinking about it and it has long-term revenue impact, long-term business continuity impact, they're going to fix it.
Mm-hmm.
But it's important that you point that out. It's like, this is not just a minor thing. And in most cases, it's not. This is a serious situation that has long-term business and revenue impact to you, and actually spell it out to them. If you're thinking on those levels, you'll have a much better experience, I think.
Paul, we got time for Kevin to weigh in on this one real quick?
Yes, we do, because I'm going to skip the second one, and we're going to do stories. So
save that one for next week.
To play devil's advocate on this just real quick, that the don't be a dick also has to apply to the submitter. I mean, we've heard so many horrible stories about security breachers kind of just taking it a little too over the line, where they develop a concept. They've actually done something. They've got a shell on a server they're not supposed to touch. So you have to also think about, you may have found this, but you also need to prove them you haven't actually caused harm. And you need to start thinking about, hey, there is a problem. Don't act on it. Show that there is a problem, but don't take the next step where they could be legitimately calling in a lawyer because you did impact their business.
I agree.
Here. And yeah, Kevin, that don't be a dick was directed to the submitter. And yeah, that's some interesting clarification and some well-deserved clarification on the don't be a dick.
Yeah, and I think it's more of a generalized statement, because what we're playing with is a real legal gray area. It's unsolicited research that could expose problems. And I'm not talking to the specific submitter of this email, it's more of just a generalized statement that if you're going out there and you're using a website and you find something, you have to start thinking about, if you take the next step, you could be breaking the law. Forget full disclosure and this is a law. So when that lawyer turns right around.
Yeah, I'm sorry that my name is Little Bobby Tables, but it's not the name my parents gave me. Sorry. Drop tables.
Whoops.
Sorry. My Chrome autofill settings. I don't know what happened.
You know what? I hope we continue to discuss this, because the big thing I took out of this is that we're all human. People look at it in different ways, and really at its core is going to be the ability to come to some understanding more quickly. Look, you're not going to be a dick. I'm not going to be a dick. Let's talk about this. Let's talk about what's realistic and where we go. I think there's a lot of really cool opportunities here. I hope we get to talk about this again. And Anonymous, let us know how it goes.
Awesome.
Yeah, please do.
With that, we're going to take a short break, come back, and talk about the security news for this week. So stay tuned. Don't go anywhere.